All right, so now we're going to move to step 3. So page 15 in our guidebook, step 3 is, in the AA's 12 steps, is that we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. And the reading assignment for that in the big book is page 58 to 63. That would be normally what a sponsor would tell his sponsee. Couple of definitions: decision, the act of deciding by giving judgment, meaning logic. A report of a conclusion, again, using our logic. And the definition of utterly, which we've thrown this in here, is absolute and total. Okay, being convinced, we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood Him. Just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do? The first requirement, I think this is the first requirement for step 3, is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we're almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. This is living life on self-will without any of this stuff out here. We don't even know that it exists in the way that it does. Are we convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success? And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without His aid. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them even though we would have liked to. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. We had to have God's help. Moral and philosophical convictions galore are still the ego trying to make something work. It's not that we're trying to get rid of something about what we are. We're trying to connect with the rest of what we are. Now, if I back up to that first statement, the first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. Can somebody get the mic to JR? JR, I would like you to tell us what it means that we're always on a collision course with someone or something, even though our motives are good. The harmony of the orchestra example.
All right. So the analogy that I like to use is Larry's good at playing the flute, Kevin's good at playing the drums, and I'm a master at playing the guitar. Michelle's a master of playing the trumpet. And we can all play our individual tune and be incredible. But if we don't have a director, if we don't have something keeping us all together and we're not playing the same tune, if we just start playing, it's not gonna sound very well. So I think that being in harmony is what this is about. It's not that I'm at fault. It's not that there's something wrong with me. It's like you said, it's discovering that there's a bigger connection than just that. And the other part is all of these ideas, these philosophies that I have of life. I'm going to come to AA and now I'm going to try and be more virtuous. And try and be a good person and live my life better. Well, all of that's good, but the book says that if a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome drinking, many of us would have recovered long ago, something like that. And I think that that's the idea here, is that I have to have some direction. I've already looked within myself and come to the end of what there is there to try and be in harmony with the world. And what it has done is put me on a collision course with other people, because if they're all doing their own thing and I'm doing my own thing, even if my intentions are good, even if they're going to help someone else do better. They're not necessarily going to cooperate. We need to look to one director, all of us. And under those circumstances, we can all be in harmony.
Thank you. So it's sort of like this. If I take this wall off of my ego and allow myself to be in the midst of a power greater than myself, and if you do the same thing, we have a connection. We're in the midst of the same power, and there's harmony, and I'm not fighting you. But no matter how virtuous I am, if I am this locked in ego, and you're a locked in ego, there's no way we're going to be in harmony, because we're both virtuous maybe, but we're not on the same tune because we don't have a director. So this is about finding a director. And it's not about getting God in our life. It's about making a decision. If I take this for what it says, I'm simply making a decision to ask this power to come and do it. I don't know how to get rid of this wall. I'm willing for it to go away. In step 2, I admitted that there could be a power greater than me. In step 3, I'm going to say, you know what? I don't know how to get God in my life, but I can ask God how to do it. If this God is so powerful, he ought to be able to figure that little deal out. This isn't about me making a commitment to be a better person, more virtuous. This is about me asking. It's about making a decision to ask. Now, why wouldn't I make that decision to ask? Well, I tell you why. Guess what? What if it's really there? And what if I lose myself as I've always known myself because something actually does come into my life and take over? That's a little scary, possibly. My ego may not like that idea. But here's what we're toying with. Logic. Logic is great stuff. We liked it, we still like it. It says that in the book. The bridge of reason. I'm not much of an artist. Let's say this is a big river flowing through. I'm looking down this river. Do I have that drawn backwards? That's how much of an artist I am. Here's the road, comes to the river. Here's the bridge of reason that goes over the river. And here's the road that leaves. There often seems no way of getting rid of self without his aid. What that means is moral and philosophical convictions on my part are not going to cause this to happen. I've got to have help from something outside myself. Deciding is an act of the will, the conscious mind, the head, not the heart. This is actually a conscious mental thing that we're doing, a decision. In this case, after honestly reviewing our scorecards, step 1 and 2, asking if we have left any stone unturned, what is our best option? Is our best option asking God to intervene? This is about asking God to do something. We've already admitted that our unaided will is insufficient, step 1. Step 3 is not a commitment to get better at living up to our moral and philosophical conviction, rather a decision to ask for God's intervention without conditions. Now, what is a decision, actually? Steve, if you decide that you want to buy something on Amazon, you look it up, and what do?
I just get my credit card out and
And would you
pay for it.
And would you decide You look at 3 different things that are sort of similar and you decide which one you want, then what do?
I click on that
You
one.
click on it, okay. You clicked on it. And then what happens? You call them and say you deliver that, you follow up on it, do you try to make sure the guy at the warehouse is doing his job? What do you do?
Well, I look to see when it'll be delivered, whatever.
You click on it, and then you go back to what you were doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's taken care of. Those guys are going to do it. They're going to deliver that thing on your doorstep in 2 days, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's a decision. I decided to buy some new underwear on Amazon, click, and it shows up in 2 days. That's a decision. What did I have to do with that? Other than making a decision. That click is my decision. Click. It's that simple, isn't it? Now I got to pay for it. I'm going to have to pay for it. That's part of the decision. Do I want to pay for this? I mean, if I didn't have to pay for anything, I could just click on stuff all the time and no big deal. Are there any consequences for this decision? That's what decisions are about. It's about, okay, do I really want to do this? Do I need this underwear more than I need this $7? Probably. So click. And here it comes. That's how it works. What makes us think this is any different? I've heard AA people talking about, well, it's more than a decision. Well, it's not more. It says it's a decision. I've read the book. What more can I do? I've already admitted that my moral and philosophical convictions aren't going to get anything done. This isn't about living up to it better. And I don't have the power to cause this change in my life. I'm looking for a higher power, a power outside myself, a power greater than myself. This is like going to God and saying, look, I've weighed all the evidence, and the best thing I could do is click on this. It's like you go to your computer and you're on there with God, and he says, click this box if you want me to take charge of your life. And you say, well, wait a minute. What are you going to ask me to do? He said, well, I ain't telling you. All I'm going to tell you is I'm going to make you a success at what I designed you for in the first place. Do you want to click on it or not? Well, I don't know. Let's say I click on it now. Can I unclick it tomorrow? He said, well, look, dude, if I let you do that, we're going to be confused as hell because things start going a little bit wrong and you're going to think that I'm not doing my job. Because his ways of straightening out our life may be something completely different than we've ever thought. Do you want to click on this or not, dude? Dennis, do you want to click? I don't know. He says, okay. We can wait a year. We can wait 5 years. We can wait forever. Your click is your decision. Now, in the third step in the big book, reading, saying the prayer that's on page 63 is clicking on it. We have to believe that it happens then. How would I possibly know if things are going according to God's plans in my life other than trusting that it is? My moral and philosophical convictions galore have never worked. I don't know what it's going to look like if he takes charge. The third step is about taking the third step. Now, it's also about paying. I can't click on it without paying the bill. And what's the bill? Well, the first thing is I've got 8 more steps to do, 9 more steps to do. Start with step 4. Step 3 is not a commitment to get better at living up to our moral and philosophical conviction. It is a decision to ask for God's intervention without conditions. Click. Click. the question of faith. Arrived at this point, we're squarely confronted with the question of faith. We couldn't duck the issue. Some of us had already walked far over the bridge of reason toward the desired shore of faith. The outlines and the promise of the new land had brought luster to tired eyes and fresh courage to flagging spirits. Friendly hands had stretched out in welcome. Let's go back to my sketch. I'm walking down this road of self-centeredness, ego-centeredness. Through the years, I'm walking down this road. My life is unmanageable. I start on this journey of the 12 steps, and I admit that my life is unmanageable. I admit it. So I start going over this bridge into a new way of life. I admit it that there's nothing I can do to manage my life. My moral and philosophical convictions are not good enough, and I can't live up to them anyway. And then I look at step 2, and I start seeing that there could be a power greater than me that could restore my sanity, that could intervene in my life and give my life meaning and purpose and direction and peace and serenity. And then I start looking at step 3, and I'm walking over here, and I realize that this is a matter of clicking. This is a matter of asking God to do something. This isn't about me making a new commitment to be a better person, more philosophical, more moral, more virtuous. This is about me asking God to do something in my life. And He knows how to get it done. Putting conditions in my life that will force me down the path He wants me to go down. He's got it. He's going to figure it out. He knows me inside and out. If He wants me over there, He may be telling me to go over here because He knows then I'll go over there. Because that's how He knows I am. He's going to get it done. He's going to get me over there. I need to depend on it. But this is the question of faith. We are grateful that reason had brought us so far, but somehow we couldn't quite step ashore. Perhaps we had been leaning too heavily on reason that last mile, and we did not like to lose our support. Reason. Failure at managing my life. Reason. 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 But guess what? Here's the desired shore of faith. When I click on that thing on Amazon, there's some, if I really think that's going to show up, it's sort of faith, isn't it? I can't go all the way to the desired shore of faith based on reason. At some point, I just have to click. I can't give you everything that you need. You can't give me everything that I need to get me onto that desired shore of faith. Somewhere in here, I have to click. I have to click on it and say, let's go. And if God is nothing, if God doesn't even exist, what's going to happen when I click? Let's say Amazon's out of business and you click on it and you don't know they're out of business. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to pay anything. You're not going to get anything. You're just going to do without your underwear. It's just the way it is. So if God's nothing, step 3 isn't going to do anything to you. But what if God is something? And what if He is going to take you? And what if He does want you? And what if He does say, okay, I've been waiting for you to click, and you click and He says, let's go. And He takes you to a whole new life that you don't even know is there. That's what this is about. See, we thought well before making this decision, making sure that at last we could abandon ourselves utterly to Him. If you go back to our guidebook, we got a list of things we might consider. Like I said, if there is no God, there is no higher power, This is all just talk we're doing this morning. There's nothing to this. But if there is, and he's the almighty source of all knowledge and power, I need to think, because my direction of my life could change drastically if I turn it over to his care. Is it a good decision or a bad decision to turn it over to his care? To ask him to do this, to ask him to take charge, and if that's where he wants me out that door, get me out that door. Let's go. I'm going to fight it every way, but I know you're going to get me there. That's what I think step 3 is. But I got to look and see if I really want to do it. So, back to our guidebook on page 15. Do you have reservations? Let's just look at all the bullet points. Have you concluded, decided that life is unmanageable by you? That's 1. Have you concluded, decided that whatever God there is may take charge of your life? Have you concluded, decided that abandoning yourself utterly to him is the best judgment you can make? Are you convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success? Is your decision, conclusion that your best chance at real success in life is to unreservedly offer yourself to your Maker as you understand him? Do you have reservations? Are you holding back? Are you ready to turn everything over to God as you understand him? So we look through our life and ask ourselves this question. Okay, am I willing for God to take my body, my physical body, and do what he wants with it? My health, my beliefs. Isn't that strange? I've had people come to the 3rd step and they don't want to do it because they're afraid God will make them change their religion. How stupid is that? That's how stubborn we are sometimes. Our relationships, our family, our career, our finances. See, going out that door, we're not sure what he has in store. Do we think it's going to be good? And like I said, if he's not there at all, you ain't going out the door anyway, so don't worry about it. But if he is there, this could be a drastic change. Religion, education, sobriety, even our sobriety, we think it's got to be. We're turning it over to him. Our will, our lives, etc. The good thing is that it's just a click. We just have to look at all this stuff. Life's unmanageable. Maybe you're powerless over alcohol. Maybe you're powerless over whatever, some other addiction. And life is unmanageable. And there might be a power greater than me. Am I willing to take a shot at doing this different? Where am I going now? It's a mess. So let's go. So this is the click. This is how we click. I say, arrived at this point right here, we have to jump down onto this road. That bridge doesn't go quite all the way. I got to jump off. So what's the big deal about that? The jump is a little too big to go back if we don't like it. Are you willing to jump off onto that road? It's a one-way jump. That's why we thought well before taking this step, making sure it's the best decision that we can make. And it is simply a decision on our part. Click. It's a click. Here's the click. On page 63 in the big book, God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. We have then completed step 3. Click. It's done.